In a corner of the agora, stood an old man with a long silver beard. The man was known as Socrates, a famous philosopher who had taught many life wisdoms to his students. Lycus dared to come closer and listen to what Socrates was saying. "No, friends," said Socrates in a calm voice, "true happiness does not come from wealth, honor, or power. True happiness comes from peace of mind and wisdom in accepting everything that happens to us." Under the vast blue sky stood the city of Athenia, a place full of wisdom and enlightenment. Among the cobblestone streets and ancient buildings lived a young man named Lycus. He was not a renowned philosopher, but within him lay a deep yearning for knowledge and understanding of life. One day, as the sun began to set, casting its golden light over the city, Lycus decided to visit the agora, the open market that also served as a hub for discussion and debate among the citizens of Athenia. There, he often listened to philosophers speak, trying to grasp bits and pieces of wisdom from their conversations. In a corner of the agora stood an old man with a long silver beard. This man was known as Socrates, a famous philosopher who had imparted much wisdom to his disciples. Lycus summoned the courage to approach and listen to what Socrates was discussing. "Know this, my friends," Socrates said in a calm voice, "true happiness does not come from wealth, honor, or power. True happiness comes from inner peace and wisdom in accepting everything that happens to us." Lycus felt a touch on his heart from these words. He dared to ask, "Excuse me, Socrates, do you mean that we should not strive to achieve more in life? Should we just resign ourselves to our fate?" Socrates smiled, seeing the sincerity in Lycus's eyes. "No, young man. What I mean is that we should strive our utmost in every action we take, but we must also understand that the final outcome is often beyond our control. That is what wisdom means. We must accept what we cannot change with a calm heart." Lycus was silent for a moment, pondering Socrates' words. He felt there was a profound truth in them, but many questions still troubled his mind. After the discussion at the agora ended, Lycus approached Socrates, who was walking home. "Socrates, may I walk with you? I have many questions I want to ask." Socrates nodded with a smile. "Of course, young man. Questions are the first step towards wisdom." They walked through the narrow, quiet streets of Athenia. Lycus began with the most pressing question on his mind. "How can I achieve the inner peace you speak of, Socrates? Life is full of uncertainty and suffering." Socrates paused for a moment, gazing at the darkening sky. "Know this, Lycus, inner peace comes from understanding that we can only control our actions and attitudes, not things outside of ourselves. This is called the dichotomy of control." Lycus looked confused. "What do you mean by the dichotomy of control?" Socrates patiently explained, "There are two things in life, what we can control and what we cannot control. The things we can control are our thoughts, actions, and attitudes. The things we cannot control are everything outside ourselves, like the weather, the actions of others, and fate. If we focus on what we can control and accept with an open heart what we cannot, we will find inner peace." Lycus slowly nodded, beginning to understand. "So, we must accept everything that happens to us, whether good or bad, with a calm and wise attitude." "Exactly," Socrates replied. "Think of the calm sea. Even though storms come and huge waves hit, the sea remains calm in its depths. We must learn to be like that sea." In the following weeks, Lycus often met with Socrates to learn more about Stoicism. He studied the teachings of great philosophers like Epictetus and Seneca. He began to understand the importance of living according to virtue and leading a life oriented towards wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. One day, Lycus faced a great trial in his life. His father, the only family he had, fell gravely ill. The best doctors in Athenia had tried, but his condition worsened. Lycus felt devastated and helpless. He went to Socrates with a heavy heart. "Socrates, my father is dying. I don't know what to do. How can the teachings of Stoicism help me in a situation like this?" Socrates looked at Lycus with empathy. "My son, the pain you feel is very human. Stoicism is not about denying feelings, but about how we respond to them. Remember that death is a part of the life cycle that we cannot control. What we can control is how we accept and face this reality." Lycus was silent, tears streaming down his cheeks. "But I can't accept the fact that I'm going to lose my father." Socrates placed a hand on Lycus's shoulder. "I understand your sorrow. But remember the teachings of Epictetus. It's not events that make us suffer, but our interpretation of those events. If you can see death as a natural part of life, perhaps you will find peace in accepting the inevitable." Days passed with anxiety. Lycus cared for his father with love, but he also tried to apply Socrates' teachings. He learned to let go of fear and accept the reality that every life must end. One quiet night, Lycus's father took his last breath. Lycus felt deep sorrow, but in his heart, there was also calm. He remembered Socrates' words and felt that he had learned to accept life's uncertainties with an open heart. After the funeral, Lycus met Socrates again. "Thank you, Socrates. Your teachings have helped me through these difficult times. I feel stronger and wiser now." Socrates smiled proudly. "Lycus, you have found your own path to wisdom. Remember that this journey never ends. Keep learning and practicing, and you will find true inner peace." Lycus nodded, feeling full of enthusiasm to continue his life with the principles of Stoicism he had learned. He knew that the road ahead might still be full of challenges, but with wisdom and inner peace, he was confident he could face them with courage and steadfastness. Time passed, and Lycus became a wise and respected man in Athenia. He often taught the teachings of Stoicism to those around him, helping them find calm in facing life's difficulties. In every step, Lycus always remembered the words of Socrates and other great philosophers, living his life with courage, wisdom, justice, and self-control. Under the blue sky of Athenia, Lycus lived with true inner peace, becoming an example for many, and leaving a legacy of wisdom for future generations. And thus, under the sky of Athenia, the story of Lycus teaches us that inner peace and wisdom are not things that come easily, but things that can be achieved through effort, self-control, and acceptance of what we cannot change.